Hello and welcome to the Uplift. I'm so glad you're joining me today, and it's the joy of Vision to bring you Uplift every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're here at 1 o'clock, and it's great, isn't it, just to get together in the afternoon and connect and share what we know and what we're learning, and just to take a few moments to be together, to be within. So I invite you now to join me in a time of prayer. Settling into this perfect moment. And perhaps you hadn't noticed this gift that we all have of breath, so I invite you now to notice it. And notice that in fact that very breath of life is sustaining you, enlivening you, allowing you to be present, to be here with yourself and connecting to all those who are with this uplift experience. We come together in community because we know that we are one. We are one with Spirit. We are one with each other. And absolutely right now, I just claim the good of this moment, the good of this day, that we can be together, that we can remember who we are, that we can be true to ourselves. For that is such a gift, and such the gift of Spirit is our individuality, that we can each discover that and be true to it. So I'm grateful for the time together and grateful for all that is learned today, all that is revealed, all that is embodied. Giving thanks right now, I let it be, and so it is. So the idea today that I'm looking at with you is this idea of being true to ourselves. And I'm going to use the guide, the 4 agreements that most of us are familiar with, the 4 agreements, a lovely book written by Don Miguel Ruiz. And so he outlines these 4 agreements. And while I'll take you through them, perhaps you'll recall what you already know about them, or if it's new for you, please feel free to reference that book and enjoy it yourself outside of this uplift. But the idea here is just to look at it again, or look at it anew with what are these agreements. And first of all, let's look at the agreements we've already made. We've made agreements all our lives. We were told certain things to believe, certain things to follow, certain things that we wanted to be good. Be good, this is how you're good. And of course when we weren't being good, then that was how we were not good or even bad. So we were told that by parents, we were told that by society, we were told that by teachers. So we have those agreements of how to be. So the opportunity here is to stop and say, are those agreements for me? Are those agreements still applicable to who I've come to be and who I choose to be? Or are they outworn? There's a story of a young child who was observing his grandmother, and she was making a ham dinner, or maybe it was Tofurky. I think it was Tofurky. So grandma was making this Tofurky and was putting it in the pan and had cut off the ends. And so he noticed that he did that, that she did that, and then asked her about it, and in fact then found out that the mom did exactly the same thing. That when mom made Tofurky, mom cut the ends off. And when the child asked the mother why she did it, she said, well, because grandma did it that way. Now here we have many generations of people who are cutting off the ends of hams or cutting off the end of the Tofurky. And when the child inquired about it with the elder generations, came to find out it was because it fit the pan better. So are we like that? Do we find that we're doing things because we've seen them done, because we've been told they were done, or because it's the right thing for us? So my Tofurky fits fine in a pan. I don't have to cut the ends off, even if that's what my mom did. And of course, if you're wondering why I'm using the Tofurky versus ham, it's because I'm a vegetarian and it's much easier for me to speak about Tofurky, but you get the concept. So are we doing things that we were told to do, or how then can we pay attention and be true to ourselves. So briefly then, the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz with this concept in mind. The first one is to be impeccable with your word. And I love the point that he makes, which is to not go against ourselves. That's this part about being impeccable with our word. Of course, it means to tell the truth, to be honest, to be in integrity. But what about this idea of not going against ourselves? He uses the word impeccable as meaning kind of an ancient meaning or a biblical meaning of meaning without sin. So being impeccable is being without sin. Sin being missing the mark. We miss the mark when we're not being true to ourselves, or worse, we go absolutely against what is true about us and about our personal integrity. So examining that, yet again, another pass, just to notice, where are we being in integrity with who we are, being true to ourselves, and where can we be more impeccable with our word? The second agreement in the 4 agreements is don't take anything personally. Wow. Good luck on that one. People have opinions, do they not? And they will share them freely. Therefore, our possibility is to receive those opinions as opinions. Outside words, outside looks, whatever that feels like, things that are coming at us or toward us that are just coming from the mind of another person. And we have an opportunity to have something of a deflector, a little shield perhaps, that says, that's them. How can I not take that personally? And we're talking anything and everything that might be said. It's challenging, isn't it, when it's something that feels hurtful. What do you mean I'm a brat? What do you mean I'm not smart? What do you mean that you wouldn't have done it that way? Or a worthwhile person wouldn't have done it that way? Or if you'd have thought it through, you would have made different choices. Do you hear how all of those are opinions? So our opportunity is to not take things personally. The origin is not you. The origin is the other person who is sharing their thought, their idea, based on their agreements that they picked up from their upbringing. We're all influenced by that. We're all influenced by what we've heard, what we've told. All bigotry is based on that. We are not born into bigotry. We learn it. We are not born into prejudice. We learn it. And out of those biases and opinions and judgments, we speak to each other. And what our role then as the listener is to not take it personally. Second agreement. Third agreement. Don't make assumptions. When we hear something, it's very tempting to know all about it, is it not? Oh, yeah, I've heard that before. Or that's what my friends have said. Or I heard that on the news. So we know all about it. And when somebody is speaking, we can get into big trouble, assuming we know what they mean. So rather than jumping to conclusions or making assumptions, ask questions. Tell me more. Tell me what you meant by that. And conversely, go ahead and say once in a while, what I meant to say is this. Expand. Expand. Let's do a better job of cleaning up assumptions. They're dangerous and they're hurtful and they're misguided. So when I'm speaking, I want to do my best to make my opinion, my thought, my share heard and felt, and so that the other person has a less chance of missing the point of what I'm communicating, what I'm intending to share. And on the other side of that, when someone says something, I don't really know what they mean. I don't know where it comes from. I don't really always understand. So we want to go ahead then, take the next step and ask it for clarification. Expand. Tell me what you meant there. And go ahead and ask those questions. So it helps eliminate a lot of biases and expectations and innuendos and all sorts of things, yes? So maybe there's a particular relationship you can think of where there's often misunderstandings. And that might come from taking it personally, but also just making assumptions. So we're looking maybe at someone in particular that we have that relationship with and see if there are ways to just add the phrase, what I meant was, or tell me more. All right. The fourth agreement is always do your best. And I love the point that Don Miguel Ruiz makes about this. It's your best is not consistent, is it? And that's where we really give ourselves a break. It's not about being better. That's a slippery slope. If we're always trying to just be better, we might notice something, we think, oh, I've got to do that better. But his point is make it your best. If that's the best you had with everything that you've pulled together, everything that, all the beliefs you grew up with, or all the conditions you're dealing with, or the pain you currently are suffering with, or the loss you're currently dealing with, and that's your best for that day, then acknowledge that, to be okay with that. There's a phrase out of the Financial Freedom course, and it's called awareness is curative. So if you are even a tiny bit more aware, that's your best. Doesn't mean don't make mistakes. It doesn't mean don't be out of sorts. It doesn't mean never have an angry thought or a less than lovely thought or have any unskilled behavior. It means notice. Notice that. Yesterday was particularly interesting for me. We had a core council meeting, and I also had, at the same time, wanted to take my partner out to go perform. And he needed the ride. He's dealing with some health challenges that will be corrected soon. But off we went. I said, yes, of course I can support you with that. Meanwhile, it was the same time as the core council meeting. Now, it all worked out. We managed to work everything out so that I sat in the car with my phone on Zoom at the core council meeting, and he sang his concert, and it all worked out. But I'm telling you, I was an anxious mess. I let the whole situation get out of hand. My thoughts went way out there. And at the end of the day, what I recognized was, given my state, that was the best I could do. I showed up, I attended the meeting, I supported him, and I was an anxious bundle of nerves. And that was my best for yesterday. So that's part of what this is giving ourselves a break, to be incredibly human, to not assume that we can always be loving and selfless. There's a pitfall, isn't it? Oh, I always mean to do well by people, and sometimes we're not selfless. In fact, we can even be a little self-serving. It's called selfish. Oh well, and I guess that's what I'm inviting us to do with this last agreement. Always do our best means to recognize how we showed up in any particular moment, give ourselves latitude to be less than perfect on the human level, and then just be aware. Awareness is curative. That's good enough. If we can be aware, it comes to pass that the corrections are put in. And that was another point that Don Miguel Ruiz made, is that with this kind of awareness, and we are true to ourselves, and we are following this idea then of being impeccable with our word, not taking everything personally, not making assumptions, and always doing our best, that we come to gradually find our true self, not based on old assumptions, but based on new and current and true to me assumptions about myself, about the way I want to be, and that means being true to my life. I thank you for this time together. We are going to close in a prayer, and let's do that now. So we're so grateful for this moment, knowing we can always choose again. We can always choose again. We can choose to be more present, more aware, more authentic, more true to ourselves, and be the one who shows up at the beach with shorts on. If that's what you want to do, be the one that pulls out your paper and pencil if you thought you can't draw, and you just do it anyway. Not make any assumptions based on who we think we're supposed to be, but being true to Spirit's creation called you, and Spirit's creation called me. So I give thanks for this recognition that all we're here to be is who we are, and to be true to that. And we call it good. I release these words with joy, and so it is. Once again, thank you for joining today. We welcome you back to the Uplift Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and of course to join us on Sundays for our Sunday celebration. I wish you the best day ever. Be well.